return to its role of protecting and advancing civil rights rather than holding them back and thwarting them. At its proudest moments, the federal government stood up for civil rights, whether that be allowing African Americans into the military or fighting for civil rights in the Deep South. Well, Washington, this is your opportunity again to do the right thing.
We are denied more than 1,000 marriage rights that heterosexual couples have across this nation, denied by DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act. That is wrong. We are denied spousal Social Security benefits, federal tax benefits, including Medicare and Medicaid. We have no assurance wherever we go that we can make medical and financial decisions for each other in an emergency.
And I want to give a face to that. 7 weeks ago, I fell in another state, and the emergency crews came and they took me to the hospital, and my greatest fear was, will Jan get to come in? What happens if I can't make a decision? What happens if I don't have all the paperwork that we carry with us every time we go someplace? What happens to me if I cross the state line? I want to put a face, a real face, to the huge difference that this makes. And thank all of you for being here, because what we are doing today is critically important. Thank you so much. Have a relationship that does not count when we cross a state line. It means that in different states, it means different things, even if we are domestic partners here, as well as married here. It means that we have had to take legal steps to have papers drawn up and filed, that we travel with papers, and that we make decisions about where we travel based on what the laws are in the state. That means we are always a little bit worried if we are outside of our home state. This is wrong and unfair, just as DOMA is wrong and unfair, and Prop 8 is wrong and unfair. It's right and fair that all loving couples, heterosexual and not, deserve marriage rights. We are in loving, committed relationships. DOMA must be overturned, and Prop 8 must be voided. That's what today is all about. Letting people across this great nation and across our wonderful state know that all of us deserve to be treated as full and complete, whole human beings, given all the rights that every other citizen of our great nation has. Separate is not equal. DOMA is unfair and wrong. Thank you for being here to rally and march to help us defeat this terrible act.
LGBT people have made tremendous strides in society in the decades since the Stonewall Rebellion, and gay marriage has been a fact in a few places in the country, including California twice in the past 5 years. We barely lost on Prop 8, and in a few days we'll have a president who says he's on our side, instead of having one who's dedicated to fighting against us. But this assurance of victory can never be a recipe for passivity, because we all know how urgent it is that we win marriage rights now. We know that between now and our day of lasting victory, lives will be ruined because they could not gain access to their partner's medical insurance or their retirement savings. And we know too well from the case of the sister in San Francisco and the Ecuadorian man in New York City and many, many others that every defeat for our movement gives comfort to the most reactionary elements of our society. Take, for instance, Rick Warren. He's the pastor of the Saddleback, California megachurch and maybe the most important person behind Proposition 8. He compares homosexuality to pedophilia and incest and wants to drive gays out of society generally. But it wasn't enough, I guess, to have him spoil election night for us. No, when the moment finally comes that we've all been waiting for, where we have a new president sworn in and the Bush era comes to an end, there will be Rick Warren up there on the podium giving the prayer at Barack Obama's request. They say it's some kind of brilliant political strategy to bring the religious right on board with all the changes that the new administration wants to make. But I personally fail to see the brilliance. I fail to see anything new or changey about this idea, about Democratic politicians cozying up to the religious right. Isn't that how we got the Defensive Marriage Act in the first place? No, brothers and sisters, we should call this what it is. It's a slap in the face. It's an insult. Does this mean that Obama is willing to sacrifice his supporters to gain ground in his larger goals? Well, I would like to say that I do not intend to be left behind in the dust. Do you hear me on that? What follows from this demonstration must be a rising crescendo of protests across this state and this country. We have to gather all the voices from all the massive protests that have erupted this November, harness it into an ongoing struggle, and build a chorus that is louder in Obama's ear than any Rick Warren. In California, we have a Supreme Court case coming up this April to re-examine the legality of Proposition 8. I say that we cannot allow ourselves to be surprised again by the results. We need to seize on every opportunity between now and then to stage protests, to have press conferences, and to have sit-ins at the county clerk's offices. This way, the judges and everybody else will know that we will not accept defeat again. We take our inspiration from people like Muntazar al-Zaidi, who, in throwing his shoes at George Bush, spoke for Iraqis and the whole world. From the workers of the Republic Windows and Doors factory in Chicago, who occupied their factory a month ago and won a portion of the bailout for themselves. In our struggle, we will inspire many others to take matters into their own hands and ensure that the change that is coming is in fact the greatest amount of change that it possibly can be. What we need above all else in this city and in cities across the country is a fighting movement of ordinary people. In the words of Frederick Douglass, the freed slave and abolitionist, without struggle there is no progress. We demand that progress and we intend to struggle. Si se puede, yes we can. Si se puede, si se puede, si se puede.
It is time, Washington, to give LGBT couples just a square deal, that's all. Honor our contracts of employment and give us those equal rights. Honor our civil contract to honor and love and support one another in civil marriage. And honor the contract in the Constitution of the United States that says no one shall be denied equal protection of the law. Equal rights, equal love, equal love, equal rights. Everyone, equal love, equal rights, equal love, equal rights. Thank you.
What do we want?
Equal rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Equal rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Equal rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?